continue.
Hey.
I got it.
How are you? You got it.
Good to see you again.
Oh, this is a perfect connection. Much better.
Great. Yeah.
And you are not scrambled.
I'm always worried it's my connection that's the issue here, but as long as it sounds good.
And that's your concern most of the time. You need to sound good.
I know I'm never going to look particularly good, so as long as it sounds good, that's my main concern.
So Tim, we're here to talk about the album, In Heaven. It's good because every time I play the album, I have a different song as my favorite. Like today, Horses at Night.
Distorted frequencies locate her mood. Impressive lingering of salt in the wound.
I wrote that one exactly where I'm sitting right here, probably of December 2019. That's the oldest song on the record.
Okay.
And it's one of those that served as a catalyst and kind of this gravitational force for the rest of the record, that when I developed these themes I thought about, of like the idea of the only way I can cope with unchangeable tragedy is sometimes I just have to go really big, meaning like space and string theory. And there's a comfort in like knowing how unbelievably minuscule we are in the movements of the universe.
We're just movements in the dark. Lonely fragments made a star.
And the title, my friend Rick Alverson, he's a filmmaker, and he's a dear friend of mine. And years ago, he said, I want to make a video with you in the nighttime with horses, like wild horses. And that stuck with me always. And I kept thinking, like, because I never say horses in the song. And I think horses at night kind of means God in a way, of the, because if you ever, in America, there's some beaches that have wild horses on them in North Carolina and Maryland. And I've actually hiked at night and felt the presence of horses by me, and I can't see them. And it's actually kind of scary to have this giant creature you can't see, but you hear them moving, and you hear their hair move and their breathing, and it's kind of like you feel safe knowing it's there, but also scared in a way. And I just always thought that when Rick kept talking about, like, I want there to be horses at night, and that felt so poetic to me that it kind of was this spark to make that song in a way.
Yeah. So do you do horseback riding yourself?
Horrified of horses. I've never been on.
They get stoned and it blows their mind.
The only problem with the album that I have, I think you should have made Under Heaven a 5 or 6 or 7 minute version. It's far too short.
All of us living under heaven. All of us doing what we're told.
That was written in the studio. The song literally just didn't exist until we had a short break when Koster was playing keyboards, and we had all of the mics set up around the piano for him to play and record him. And I sat down when they were having dinner maybe, and I just wrote that song, and the mic was on. And so Kevin Ratterman, the producer, was just like, can we just record that? I was like, absolutely. But yeah, I actually was working out a live version of that could be more, but it's a weird feeling to write a short song.
Yeah. Of course, Galacticana.
I don't wanna drag
Galacticana especially is just, it lives around that kind of like that beat, it feels very British to me, like a lot of Primal Scream and the Verve. Like a lot of bands in that era had that, like, I call it like the LSD tempo, when it's like not fast and slow, and you're just kind of like, it could kind of go on forever. And Galacticana, man, it's one of those songs. I love it because there's a few songs I've written where I know I could go to any band that I have, like whether it be my American or Dutch band, and it will take one practice and we've got it. Like it's just a song meant to be played live, and it's I love that one.
I just like hanging.
When I play a show, I just do not care what happens after. You know, I've had tough life sometimes, and I just want to bleed on, you know, I want to give everything I can, and I don't care what happens after. You know, it's like there is such a
I remember that to this day when I spoke to you in 2014, and I was in a very different place. And I remember you were this, like, it felt like a mentor, like you centered me in a really good way that kind of helped me pull me back maybe from this kind of edge that I was careening towards. And that was an epiphany, that discussion we had, that stayed with me in extremely positive ways.
There was a lot of pent-up energy in my life, and to turn a guitar up and to play off of other musicians is, you know, it's somewhere between sexual feelings and, you know, spiritual feelings. And I always used to be almost judgmental of people who like felt music on stage, but I was actually looking inwards myself and being angry that I couldn't do that.
Nice. So you guys are just doing JM. That's the final one, right?
Let's take a smoke break.
Okay.
There's the song JM, which is short for Jason Molina. Why were those tunes so important for you?
I constantly consume music. I constantly, every point of my waking hours is listening to music, and it provides almost like, I always view it as like a film soundtrack, except that the film is me going for a walk or looking outside the van as we're driving somewhere. But when it comes to Jason Molina's music and Songs of Iha and Magnolia Electric Company and his records, I truly found someone that I thought he was just for me.
I hated all my friends. I wouldn't let them in. I had your sweet tunes to play. On a long desert train, I had a knife in my bed. I had your sweet tunes to play.
The record that I made, Heal, is mostly about music. And, you know, growing more comfortable with myself, I feel like I'm allowed to be cliche, because I want to burn away irony and cynicism in the world. That's kind of one of my goals.
Tunes to play.
I think part of the way I process experiences and perhaps emotions has calmed. And I think I still am impacted by it deeply enough, but that kind of, I don't know if it's a masculine quality or if it's something with like young men where there's just this energy that happens to you, but also that energy is so hard to control and chaotic. Like when I would get sad, it would be way too sad for what it called for. Or if I would feel like I was getting wild, I would get way too wild. And there's a calming that I see I saw it happen in my dad, actually. My dad's very much like me. He's very tall, but he's very loud, and he's a gregarious, wonderfully, he's a loud guy that you'd love the second you talk to him. But I saw it happen to him when he was, kind of got to his 40s, where there was a softening that happened that was really awesome to see. He's a grandpa now and everything, and I'm not a grandpa, but at the same time, I find myself, there's a less of a desire to prove something anymore, and I felt like I feel more comfortable. So where in Heaven Sounds, I think you're hearing someone that's maybe a little bit more comfortable with existence.
Yeah.
And even if it's tough, I'm a little more comfortable with it, maybe now.
You have a different view on existence.
Yeah. And I like it. I think that's my different view. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't actively want to destroy it, I think.
I can almost tell. John's on a walk somewhere, Chicago.
We need to talk about your paintings, and I assume you have some paintings on your left or right side.
Darn. This was like, sorry about my cinematography skills here.
Oh, it's not too bad.
They're pretty big. I've got a few in here.
Whoa.
And then I have Fela Kuti, Jerry Garcia, and Leonard Cohen as my posters, my uncles, as I call them.
Why did you start painting?
I think I finished the record exactly a year ago. We were done mixing in the record, and I came home back to Austin, Texas, and I had nothing to do and a lot of pandemic left. Like, this was still pre-vaccines. And so I started painting simply because we had moved into this new house, and there was just wall space. There was just a lot of room on the walls, and I was like, I don't know how to decorate. I just had no idea how to decorate. So I was like, I'm just going to start painting to fill space up on the wall in my wife's office and stuff. So I feel like when I paint, I can take things to this level where there's limitations I found with writing songs and expression. And simply because you can't visualize it, that like wherever I can take things in a Strand of Oaks song, there's this door I open with painting where I can go even deeper. It's like each painting represents like a full
album.
Yeah, and a theme and a world. And the first painting I sold, the man who bought it, it was this big kind of psychedelic, very intense piece. And it was actually called Horses Through a Low Patch. It was Horses Came Back. But it made me almost tear up and cry, because when he bought it, it's about a 7 or 8 foot painting, and he said he's going to put it in his daughter's room because he wants her to practice mindfulness. And she's like 7 or 8, and that just touched me to like no end, to know that like I make these records and they're very much for a group, for many people to hear, hopefully. But with paintings, it becomes this incredibly intimate experience with the person who, this painting I'm just finishing up, it's for his living room, and like this will be kind of like a focal point in his house and his family's house. And it's an honor, but it's also a whole new creative outlet for me that is, it makes me like playing guitar better. It makes me more excited to play songs, and it's a new thing that I'm thrilled that it's a part of my life now. Like it's a new factor in what I can do.
There's a blue
Well, Tim, thank you very much. Again, we will not stop working with you. And when are you planning to come over to Europe again?
February, I'll be back. So
I'll open the studio door for a new recording.
Yes, awesome. I would love that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great talking to you again.
See you soon.
I always love it.
Bye, Tim.
Bye-bye.
John's on a walk somewhere.